Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tanika Harris. I am the Director of Communication and Community Relations for the Urban Redevelopment Authority of Pittsburgh. I'm so excited to be here. We have a lot of incredible announcements and some new ideas and some new projects to share with the community. Today is our regular board meeting. It is April 13th, 2023. Chairman Chintalapalli, you have a quorum, and I'm going to pass the meeting over to you.
Thank you, Director. Currently present on the board meeting, we have myself, Vice Chair Councilman Daniel Lavelle, and then members Lindsay Powell and Sam Williamson. I know that Representative Norano will be joining us later, but had a previous engagement that was likely to run over. Our first order of business today is approval of the March 9th, 2023 URA board meeting minutes. May I have a motion?
So move. Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Please note that the board met in executive session on April 6th for a briefing that was for informational purposes only, and on April 13th to discuss some legal matters. Moving on, next on the agenda is our public comment, and I will turn it over to Daniel Granville.
Hello, members of the URA board. We had one public comment registered today via letter. It comes from the executive committee of the Sierra Club Allegheny Group. I'm not going to read the whole letter because it's pretty long, but I am going to read its main points. So, dear Mayor Gainey, City Council, and the Urban Redevelopment Authority Board, we, the executive committee of the Sierra Club Allegheny County, requesting that you turn down the proposal for Oakmont Consultants, Inc. to build along the publicly owned forested lots of the 15th Ward in the Hazelwood neighborhood. Furthermore, we request that this section of land be held as a greenway and designated as parkland, as all greenways in Pittsburgh have become. Additionally, the results of Oakwood's Environmental Site Assessment, or ESA, should be released to the public. The public should also be informed of any planned public presentations by the developer to the URA's board or city authorities, such as the Planning Commission and Zoning Board. In the future, we strongly request that the City Council stop all transfer of parcels to the URA to avoid a similar endangerment of our public lands. The Sierra Club's concerns are trifold. One, it serves the greater forest economy and wildlife of Pittsburgh. Second, it enhances the health and quality of life for the people who live in Hazelwood. And third, this forest serves to counter the effects of climate change. This forest is a prime habitat for wildlife such as deer, wild turkeys, hawks, owls, songbirds, bats, coyotes, and foxes. Bats and songbirds in particular are important pollinators that keep down insect populations. Further, Pennsylvania's state insect, the firefly, is also in decline, but finds refuge in these woods. This tract of forest exceeds its isolated value because of its placement between Shenley Park and the Greenway Forest at the top of Elizabeth Street. This creates 1,896 contiguous acres of forest, going from Shenley Park to our greenways, Cavalry Cemetery, Housing Lands, and Frick Park. It acts as a wildlife corridor that expands wildlife range, and as such, their chance to maintain healthy populations. This forest benefits people too by providing not only recreation, but better air and water quality while enhancing quality of life. Just one average sized tree produces enough oxygen for 2 adults. The Three Rivers Village School just moved into the former YMCA building located near the parcel and is already benefiting from the adjacent community garden. The adjacent proximity to these forested lots offer a unique opportunity to extend their hands-on curriculum to the forest for studies of biology, ecology, forestry, and more. We would be remiss if we failed to acknowledge the service this forest provides in fighting climate change. Forests counter this effect by absorbing the carbon dioxide in the atmosphere, effectively working as carbon sinks. Forests alone can provide 30% of our effort to keep global warming below the 2°C mark that is recommended for the threshold to support human life. Pittsburgh's Climate Action Plan emphasizes the need to halt the loss of forest canopy to developers. Development of this forest is also directly counter to the Greater Hazelwood Neighborhood Plan, Our Hands, Our Plan, which was to be formally adopted to the city's comprehensive plan. This plan clearly states that development be focused on 2nd Avenue with the goal of protecting forests. Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution in a 1967 amendment reads, "The people have the right to clean air, pure water, and to the preservation of natural, scenic, historic, and aesthetic values of the environment. Public natural resources are the common property of the people, including generations yet to come." Developing the Hazelwood Forest would be counter to this constitutional amendment, Pittsburgh's Climate Action Plan, and Hazelwood's own Our Hands, Our Plan. Oakmoss Consultants, Inc. has painted an unrealistic picture of how their plan will create a new vibrant neighborhood, complete with housing, retail, and a restaurant. In reality, it lacks family housing with only 5 buildings containing 3 bedrooms and would lead to bottleneck of traffic, more pollution, and stranded wildlife that will clash with the urban development. Thank you for considering our appeal. And it is signed by Christopher Shepard, Chairperson of the Executive Committee of Sierra Club's Allegheny Group. And that concludes public comment. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. Moving on, next on our agenda is a few announcements. I think for the first one, I'm going to turn it over to Evan Miller and Ben Payton.
Thank you, Chairman. Good afternoon. My name is Evan Miller. I'm the Director of Housing here at the Urban Redevelopment Authority, and I'd like to announce to the board and those watching that tomorrow an application for funding is going to go live on the URA's website for the American Rescue Plan Act funded housing preservation program. As a refresher, this program is going to help fund the acquisition, rehabilitation, or operations of existing affordable housing, both naturally occurring and subsidized. The program is intended to quickly deploy funding to development partners that are looking to preserve existing affordable portfolios at risk of flipping to market rate and being taken offline. URA is currently scheduled to receive $8.9 million of American Rescue Plan funding to support this effort. Some of the high-level components are that eligible projects will include 5 or more units, with at least 50% of the units being affordable to households at or below 80% of the area median income, with a priority being given to projects that are serving households at or below 50% of the area median income. Also, the program, to the greatest extent possible, is going to require participating projects to accept housing choice vouchers. Eligible borrowers are both nonprofits and for-profit developers, but any group that participates is going to have to accept a 40-year affordability deed restriction on the project. And eligible projects can receive up to $50,000 of preservation funds per affordable unit, with a maximum per project loan of $1.5 million. Applications are going to be accepted on a rolling basis, and projects seeking funding will be presented to the board once URA staff completes underwriting projects as they come in. We're excited to be launching this highly anticipated program and look forward to bringing projects to this group in the near future. The application can be found at ura.org in the proposals and bids section. And again, it's going to be posted tomorrow on March 14th. Happy to take any questions, but thank you all for your time.
Thank you, Director. I don't have any questions. I'm not sure if any of my fellow board members do. It's just exciting to, I know we voted on the guidelines a few months ago. So to see it get out there and us to put, close to $9 million out there on the street to preserve, affordable units that are at risk all across the city, it's incredibly important. So would encourage folks to take a look at it seriously and get those applications in so that we can start preserving and protecting those units for our residents, throughout the city. So I don't know if there's any other questions or comments from the board. If not, we can. Oh, all right. Let's move on to the next announcement then. Becky Davison-Wagner and I think Catherine Murray might be joining us as well.
Thank you, Chairman Gentilopoli and the URA board. My name is Rebecca Davidson-Wagner. and I'm president of Invest PGH, sister CDFI to the URA. My work with IPGH mainly involves fundraising, compliance, and IPGH board management and direction. But raising money is one thing and deploying it is the real work, and that is done under the steady hand of Director Catherine Murray in the URA's Commercial Lending Department, and by the compassionate, thoughtful, thorough, and attentive loan officers that administer the 3 loan programs that are housed at Invest PGH. Those programs include a microloan program, which is up to $30,000, a step-up program called ABLE that is up to $150,000, and a targeted childcare business forgivable loan program called CRIB that is up to $20,000. Invest PGH provides all borrowers with no-cost technical assistance through Chatham Women's Business Enterprise. This nonprofit CDFI was born at the height of the pandemic in April 2020 and has invested over $3 million into 69 small businesses to date, with a focus on minority and women borrowers. 76% of borrowers in IPGH's portfolio are MWBE-led businesses. The CDFI fund released an opportunity to apply for funding authorized in 2021 through a COVID recovery appropriation. Invest PGH applied for and has received $500,000 of this equitable recovery program funding, and will use it for microgrants and technical assistance for borrowers. There are other CDFIs in Pittsburgh that also received awards. I want to congratulate them. And the city as a whole received around $8 million in grant funding through various CDFIs throughout the city. Thank you again to the board and staff at the URA for providing the space and support for Invest PGH to prosper and to serve small businesses. Thank you.
Thank you, Becky. I don't know if there's any questions or comments from the board.
I was just going to say, I know this has been a long time coming, and thank you to you and your team for pulling this together. And I think it really speaks to how important the URA is and how we're able to work in spaces that may seem a little bit out of mission, but are critical to ensuring that we're creating spaces that are accessible and affordable for folks all across the city, and funding programs that help all neighbors. So I'm really excited about this. And really appreciate you and your team's hard work.
Thanks, Director Powell. I completely agree. I think it's just another, illustration of the URA stepping into, gaps in the marketplace that aren't being served right by anyone else. And hopefully, as the councilman often reminds us, that once we demonstrate that there's, viability here, we would like to see more resources flow to these spaces that, we're kind of leading the way into. So congratulations, to the team. I know you've been at it for a while with the hopes that, we'd start seeing CDFI monies, come into into Invest PGH. It's great to see, the additional awardees within the city. So thank their staffs for that work as well. And in addition to yours, and, the advocacy that our federal delegation from Representative Lee to Senators Casey and, Fetterman did to help with this. It's important, and, excited to see it come to fruition. So thank you.
Thank you.
You can see on today's agenda, we have items through Avenues of Hope, residential lending and investments, development services, and neighborhood business district services as well. Up first on the agenda are a series of announcements related to a few projects in Center Avenue, and joining us for that will be Austere to Clay.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me. I'm going to just provide a brief update on 4 projects receiving funding through 2 different allocations. Again, this is and I have to preface, a preliminary funding plan utilizing federal community project financing and redevelopment assistance capital plan dollars. So it's 2 funding sources, one federal, one state. And this again is a planned allocation for 4 projects within the Center Avenue corridor. We can go to the next slide. The first project is Amani Christian Community Development Corporation, located at 2159 Center Avenue. The total development cost is a little over $5 million, so about 5.4 million. And we're allocating roughly $2 million to this project. You can go to the next slide. Big Tom's Barbershop, also on Center Avenue, located at 2178 Center Avenue. This total development cost for this project is slightly under 3 million, so 2.899. And we are allocating up to $400,000 for this project. You can go to the next slide. Communion Place. It's on the corner of Wiley and Heron, so it's abuts both and kind of a interesting triangle there. Property is at 2932 and right on the corner of Wiley. So you've probably seen this property a few times if you drive up there. Total development cost is $4.6 million, and we're doing an allocation of $1 million. And our final project is Rhythm Square, located at 2239 and 2225 Center Avenue. So it's two buildings. They've been vacant and abandoned for some time. The total project cost is $3.3 million, and we're doing an $800,000 allocation. I do want to note that each of these projects, all four, are minority or women owned, and they're all developers from the local community who are bringing either their headquarters to the mixed use commercial space, and each property does have a component of affordable housing. So it's a great opportunity bringing both, commerce and much needed housing to the Hill District. So this is an exciting time for us. We're excited that we're bringing these projects to completion, and we're looking forward to finally closing on Center Avenue. It's been a long time coming, since 2018, and we're really proud of the work that's gone in and the community support to get these projects moving. So thank you.
Thank you. Any questions or comments from the board? No. Okay. I thank you for your work on this. As you said, it's been a long time coming. So it's incredibly exciting to see, I know we still have a few more to work on, but, to see these four, really be on the precipice, and looking forward to them, moving ahead and making some exciting progress. So, kudos and thanks for staying with it, as well as the community, as well as, all the folks behind these projects. I think, again, a great example of our federal delegation helping us secure resources here, as well as, state delegation with the RCAPs and the federal delegation with the funds that they secured via the appropriations process last year. So really wonderful to see them, believe in the vision that, we've developed alongside the community. So thanks so much, and looking forward to seeing these go up. So
Thank you.
Staying in the Hill District, the next item on the agenda is on Center Avenue, and it's Salem's Market and Grill.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Chairman, board members. My name is Bailey Knapp. I'm a project manager here at the URA. Today, we're here for the proposal and form of contract for the sale of Block 11A, Lot 123, in the 3rd Ward to Salem's Market Center Avenue, LLC, or related entity for $1,900,000. Little project background: the URA put out a request for proposal in 2020 to find new tenants to occupy the storefronts in the plaza. In January 2022, the URA executed a lease with Salem's for the grocery store space. So since then, Salem's and the URA has been working together to open up this grocery store. And, pretty recently in March 2023, Salem's agreed to lease the sale agreement for the purchase of the Center Hellman Plaza. So within this agreement, the URA is going to have the first right of refusal. And we also wanted to clarify that the current lease terms with the tenants in the plaza are going to be honored. The joint decision to sell this plaza, was made in part for Salem's to utilize the building to help raise their financing for in the future, and have more control over their operating costs. So we, the URA and Salem's, believe that this decision is going to help ensure a successful long-term grocery store within the Hill District. So total development costs They're going to come up roughly close to 6.9 million. This is going to restore, like I said, a grocery store to the Center Home and Plaza where the existing Shop and Save was located. And it's going to provide a source of food to an area that often has limited access to affordable and nutritious options. So the grocery store size is going to be roughly 30,000 square feet, with 20,000 of those square feet used for actual selling space. So this is going to include, groceries, baked goods, meats, prepared goods department. This project closely aligns, with the Avenues of Hope initiative goal to activate these commercial corridors and support MWBE businesses. This project also aligns with the Greater Hill District Master Plan to bring commercial economic development back into the Hill and provide jobs for Hill District residents. So this Salem's has made a commitment to, local hiring initiatives. They plan to have 50% of their workforce residents of the Hill District. They plan to initiate, job training programs, career advancement opportunities, and community outreach to stay close to the community. The project funding is going to be used with 2 small business administration loans with Key Bank for working capital. There's going to be a Key Bank mortgage for the purchase of the property, and there's going to be a URA commercial loan for equipment and build out. So we also have a redevelopment assistance capital program grant, also known as RCAP, for equipment and build out. And there's going to be various grants and roughly 500,000 of Salem's own equity. This project contribution for MWBE is going to be coming around $643,000 in development costs towards MWBE firms. And these actually have higher percentage goals due to aligning with the Greater Hill Master Plan. So I know, speaking for the URA, Salem's is a local business that has served in the city for a long time, and definitely during this project has just made a huge commitment in their time, financial commitment, and just reputation towards this project, and just, ensuring that, they're going to open up a great grocery store. So we are definitely excited for this partnership, for this project, and getting it complete. So I want to invite Abdullah Salem, who is president and owner of Salem's Market and Grill, to say a few words and answer any questions that the board might have. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bailey. Thank you very much, Bailey. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm sorry to say you can't see me with my suit on. I wore this suit just for you guys today. But can everyone hear me?
We can hear you perfectly well.
Yep.
We can almost hear the suit, Abdullah.
Thank you. Thank you. Well, thank you very much, Kyle. This is an important milestone in our journey, and I have the deepest gratitude for everyone at the URA for their unwavering support to our project. Your dedication is transforming our vision into reality, and for that, we are immensely grateful. I would like to extend a special thanks to Councilman Lavelle, Marimba Malayans for their exceptional leadership and service to the community. Furthermore, I want to acknowledge and thank our Honorable Mayor Ed Gainey, the entire URA board, and specifically the URA board chair, Kyle Chentalapalli, for their ongoing guidance and encouragement. The success of this project is a testament to the efforts of the entire URA team. I want to honor the executive leadership, particularly Tom Link, Sushila Namani Stenger, and Tanika Harris for their inspiring direction. Additionally, I would like to recognize the invaluable contributions of James Reed, Rochelle Lillian, Bailey Knapp, Michael Betsora, Lindsay Jupin, Catherine Murray, ML Meyer, and all of the dedicated individuals at URA. At the heart of our efforts are the people of the Hill District, to whom we owe our deepest gratitude. We are honored by the opportunity to serve this vibrant community and provide them with the high quality amenities and services they truly deserve. We acknowledge that our store is not only a business, but a community asset, and we are committed to being responsible stewards of that asset. We are grounded in our unwavering dedication to the community, and we will continue to work hand in hand to forge lasting partnerships with our Hill District friends and neighbors. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Abdullah. Any questions, comments from the board? I do also want the record to reflect, I guess, before that Representative Marano has joined us. Sorry, Councilman.
Thank you. Given that Abdullah named everybody by name, I won't try to thank everyone involved, but I do want to thank Abdullah and his team and all the URA staff who have worked to sort of transition the approach to making this successful. So I just want to thank you all for sort of giving as much time and energy to this as possible to ensure that this is being set up in a way that he'll be able to be successful for 50, 60 years to come. So thank you all for your hard work. I believe Abdullah is looking to open up sometime late this fall. And I would just encourage all those from the city of Pittsburgh. Yes, this is critical for the Hill District, right? Because you're coming into a food desert. But at the same time, this is really a critical store for the entire city. So I would just encourage all those from the city to certainly shop here as frequently, as often as possible, enjoy the wonderful food. And just thank you all again for everyone's thinking around this. Oh, one more thing. It should also just be worth noting for the public that I'm not suggesting anything bad is going to happen, because I believe this store will be extremely successful for decades to come. But there are covenants in place that if and when, for whatever reason, Salem's Market and Grill decided to sell, URA would be in first position to buy back the property to ensure moving forward that it could again remain a grocery store for the community. So just thought the public should understand that part as well.
We can see you now.
Oh man, thank you. I wanted to make sure I showed you this suit.
Now we're live.
Well, thank you, everyone. I'm sorry to cut in. Thank you so much, everyone. I appreciate you, and God bless you all.
I would just echo the councilman's comments and appreciate you running through the long list of staff. You know, I think it speaks to, one, the authority's commitment to the project and seeing, it through and ensuring that it's successful. But two, also, just the untold, efforts that go on behind the scenes that folks don't always have visibility in. And I think, I appreciate you taking the time to acknowledge that in a public way. So, obviously wish you nothing but success. Excited that we're here today to take this vote and look forward to seeing the project move forward. So, unless there's any other comments or questions, can entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Any abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Everyone. Moving on to Larmer Avenue, the Urban Academy campus extension. Joining us for this will be Danita Thomas.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Donita Thomas. I am the Community Investment Manager for the Community Development Investment Department here at the URA. Today, I'm presenting on behalf of Development Services. I did want to mention, in response to the public comment about Woods Village and Oak Moss, the environmental reports are available on the URA website for public consumption. If you go to the site and then go to Impact and then Project and Portfolio, you can find the environmental reports there under Woods Village. Today, I'm presenting accepting the final drawing, final evidence of financing, and authorization to execute a deed with Urban Academy or a related entity for a green space addition to their campus. I'm also recommending authorization to rescind Board Resolution number 121, dated November 2022, and reinstate Board Resolution number 365, previously authorized December of 2020. Resolution 121 was a disposition contract amendment that would have resulted in a smaller green space and parking. Resolution 365 is the original proposal, which is just the green space only, which is the path forward for the project. Next slide, please. Urban Academy has been very busy developing a comprehensive master campus plan with 87. That plan is shown here. It has a targeted completion of 2027 and estimated master plan development costs are $12.5 million. For the project being considered today, they're pursuing 2 parcels. One is coming from the URA, would be coming from the URA via this authorization, and that is being conveyed for $1 plus cost and is around 11,000 square feet. The other parcel they've already acquired directly from the city of Pittsburgh. Urban Academy will create green space for use next to their school that will help enrich academic, social, and emotional learning opportunities for students and an attractive, nurturing space for the Larmer community. In a further phase, this parcel will hold a section of a redesigned 6 through 12 facility as they work toward their master plan completion. Total development costs for this phase are $436,032 to be funded entirely by redeveloper equity. Urban Academy is also in the process of purchasing a large nearby parcel from the Pittsburgh Land Bank, and they've already acquired several privately owned parcels next to the school. Today, we have Kay Chase Patterson, Chief Executive Officer of Urban Academy, on the line to answer any questions. Thank you for your consideration.
Thank you, Danita. Chase, do you have anything you'd like to add to Danita's presentation?
I would not like to add anything to Danita's presentation other than to say thank you. And I will ask that for the record, you replace everything that Abdullah said about Salem's and replace it with Urban Academy. And we're good to go.
Sounds good. Any questions or comments from the board on this one?
Nope, I carry my comments forward for Urban Academy.
So we're setting up for a quick board meeting if we're just going to carry forward everything that we said before. This is good.
I have a quick question, just because I'm curious, and I know that you all do great work over there. The green space and the green space over there, is there going to be any art there? And if so, are the students going to be able to participate?
In short, yes, there will be art. And yes, the students will be able to participate. Unfortunately, we will not be able to permanently install it as, this is a phase 1 of a future development, but yes, to all of the above.
Yeah, it'll be really beautiful to see some children's art around that wrap. So very excited about this, and thank you for bringing it to the board.
Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? The motion carries. Great. Congratulations. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Moving on, the next item on the agenda is the for sale development program for community land trusts, presentation of the guidelines, and joining us for this will be Victoria Jackson.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Victoria Jackson, and I am a lending analyst with the Housing Lending Unit here at the URA. Today, I'm presenting the guidelines for the for sale development program for community land trusts. This is a non-voting item for the board and the beginning of the public comment period on these guidelines. The purpose of this program is to provide construction financing to community land trusts for the rehabilitation and new construction of affordable for sale housing within the city of Pittsburgh. Units awarded this funding will be sold to households at or below 80% AMI and carry a 99-year affordability restriction recorded on the unit. And the deed restriction will allow for the maximum resale value of the house to increase 2% per annum. At this time, financing is slated to be awarded as a grant in an amount up to $100,000 per rehab unit and $130,000 per newly constructed unit. These per unit maximums are meant to better capture the increased costs that affordable housing developers are facing in light of rising construction costs and rising interest rates. Additionally, this program will permit community land trusts to engage in the rent to own model. Community land trusts will be able to rent the unit to a potential buyer until the tenant is prepared for a home purchase. The draft guidelines currently allow for up to 10 years as a rental before financing would need to be returned to the URA if the unit is not sold to the tenant in that time. So once again, we are presenting the guidelines and not asking for a vote this month. These guidelines will be available for public comment for a period of 3 weeks. After comments are collected, URA staff will make appropriate adjustment to the guidelines and verify with city law that they are ARPA compliant. Final guidelines will be presented for a vote at the May URA board meeting. Application for funding will be announced once a subrecipient agreement is executed with the city. So with that, I am happy to answer any questions this board may have of this program.
I have a quick question, because I just think I missed it. How much equity would the owner be able to build up? I think, did you say 2%?
So the guidelines as they are right now allow for a 2% increase of a maximum, so 2% per annum. So each of the land trusts will also be required to have a ground lease, and then that ground lease is generally a calculation they have that allows for resale value as well. I am not an expert in everybody's calculations, but there is opportunity there to increase that. But I will also, defer to my colleagues, Evan and Hannah Salvanik, who is also in URA Legal, who has been working on these guidelines, to answer that question.
Yeah, Victoria, I think you're spot on that. Right now it's equity basically at a rate of 2% per year. And that's in line with how land trusts are operating right now. But if we hear from the public during this public comment period that we need to rethink that, we certainly could take that into account, or perhaps create a range or something of that nature.
Thank you.
Victoria or Evan, I know there's a few land trusts operating within the city. I think total we have 5 million in ARPA that's going towards this program or slated for this program. Do we have a sense, in terms of their existing project pipelines, right? Like, are we going to be able to get all of the maximum number of units that we've kind of projected, with the way the guidelines are structured, sort of on the street, in a deliberate amount of time?
Yeah, so I think we are in touch with the land trusts quite often about their project pipelines, and we know that there are some ambitious plans for the second half of 2023 going into 2024. If we do find ourselves kind of moving up against the deadline to commit funds, and seeing that there's still a lack of movement in this initial 5 million, I think we'll look at tweaking the guidelines. We could potentially open it up beyond just land trust, but right now this is solely for land trust, and we do have confidence that there will be demand for it.
It's exciting to see a sizable investment like this, right, into the land trust kind of ecosystem, if you will, to bring a number of units online. So the deadline might be a good thing, right, to help us kind of get them brought up, or at least under agreement in a more kind of expeditious manner. So that's exciting to see, and I think this 5 million in combination with the 4 million to PHDC for their unit production, and the over 15 million for own PGH, which we voted on, that's nearly 25 million for home ownership opportunities, across the city of Pittsburgh. I think when we think about them individually, we kind of lose sight, right, of that overarching magnitude. So did want to just take a moment to highlight that. But obviously, with this being draft guidelines specifically for this program, we want to ensure that we're getting good feedback, I think, as we have on the other ones. So, I thank my fellow board members who've, kind of challenged us to do that, and then, staff for being thoughtful in the way in which we approach it. So if there's any other questions or comments from fellow board members. Seeing none, well, it's a non-voting action, so we'll see you in a month for the final ones, but thank you for your work on this.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda, moving into development services, over to the north side in Troy Hill. The first item is Troy Hill Firehouse.
Thank you. Good afternoon, all. Thank you, Chairman and members of the board. My name is Gordon Hall. I'm a project manager with Development Services. Today, I'll be presenting the second board action for the Troy Hill Firehouse. Today, we look for authorization of the proposal and form of contract for the sale of Block 48N, Lot 10 in the 24th Ward to QGE Holdings LLC or a related entity for $300,000. This action is contingent on the execution of a cooperation agreement between the URA and the City of Pittsburgh. I'd like to note that this project is so far MWBE compliant. Next slide, please. QGE Holdings LLC, the developer, plans to restore the Troy Hill Firehouse for a total development cost of $608,880. The firehouse will have two anchor tenants. The first tenant is Scratch and Company. Scratch and Company is an existing restaurant across the street and a former URA commercial lending business recipient. We'll expand into the first floor of the firehouse to sell prepared goods, coffee, and some fresh food. The expansion of Scratch will be open in the morning to the evening. In the evening, Abstract Brewing will operate a small tap house in the back of the first floor with a small bar and seating area. Production will take place in their Hazelwood site at Mill 19. Firehouse will act as a simple tap room, open during the evenings and closing by 9 or 10 p.m. The alterations to the building will be minor and restorative in nature due to the historic designation of the building. The developers will be adding 2 ADA handicap accessible bathrooms on the first floor and removing the mechanical equipment left from the prior tenant, which is actually the City of Pittsburgh, the commercial vehicle unit under the Pittsburgh Police Department. This way, the project will keep its costs low and provide the first floor public use that was outlined as a preferred use in the RFP. This project is privately financed with a combination of debt and equity. The developer is putting in about 30% equity, just as a sort of a benchmark. This proposal received unanimous approval from the review committee made up of 5 Troy Hill residents and Councilman Wilson's office. The project has been shared with Troy Hill Citizens Council, the neighborhood RCO, and they've received a letter of support. The footprint of the building is 2,200 square feet. The building is 3 floors. However, for now, the first floor will be activated for commercial use, add to the already growing Lowry Street Business District, and the basement and the second floors will be used for storage for the anchor tenants. We are excited to present this project, and we look forward to returning for the 3rd and 4th board action in the coming months. The developer, Chad Chalmers, is here to answer any questions the board may have this time. Thank you.
Thanks, Gordon. Chad, I don't know if you have anything you'd like to add to Gordon's presentation for the board.
No, I think Gordon has covered it very well. I'd like to replicate the same thank you to all of the folks from Salem's, but also thank Gordon. Gordon's helped us through a process of navigating this process through the URA and really has been outstanding to help us get this far along. And the next step is kind of in our court to secure financing.
Thank you, Chad.
Any questions or comments from the board? It's a beautiful building, so I'm excited to see the project move forward. We'll see you back here again hopefully soon. And congratulations. I know the community, as Gordon said, is excited about it, so it's good to see. No other questions or comments. I'll entertain a motion.
Thank you.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Great, the motion carries. Thank you all. We'll see you back here soon, hopefully. The last item, or no, excuse me, not the last item. The next item is in Uptown, 23 Miltenberger. Joining us for this will be Brandon Wilson.
Hello, everyone. I'm Brandon Wilson, a project manager with Development Services at the URA. Today, I am requesting that the board accept final drawings, final evidence of financing, and execute a deed for the sale of 23 Miltenberger and adjacent lots located at Block 11, lots 95, 96, and 101, Pittsburgh's first ward, to Epic Development LLC or a related entity for $60,000 plus costs. The 23 Miltenberger site assemblage contains a mixed-use building as well as empty land currently used for parking. Epic Development intends to restore the existing building, creating a downstairs commercial space that will be used as a food and beverage location, as well as 2 housing units, one on each of the 2nd and 3rd floors. In the adjacent vacant parcels, Epic Development will deliver a 3.5-season destination space for food and drinks that will accommodate 3 food truck businesses that have access to communal assets, electric hookups, bathrooms, and patio seating. The space will serve as a business incubator for food and beverage businesses and will host community events. The last time this project was put to a board vote, the proposal package was approved. Since then, Epic Development has revised the project's drawings, finalized its finance, and gotten MWBE plan approval. This is the last time the project will be presented to the board publicly prior to the sale of this property. I want to invite Michael McAllister of Epic Development to say a few words and answer any questions that the board may have. I am also available to answer any questions from the board. Thank you.
Thanks, Brandon. Michael, I think you're on mute. I don't know if you had anything you'd like to add to Brandon's presentation.
Yeah, I just want to echo the same thanks to the URA and to our partners at Uptown Partners helping us move this project through, and we're really excited for what we have proposed here. As many of us know, Uptown's lost so many of its historic, turn of the century buildings, and I think this is a really terrific opportunity to create a community asset that is located on the heart of the new BRT spine line through Forbes Avenue, to bring folks from Uptown and outside the neighborhood to this gathering space and really provide a unique community asset for Uptown to continue its growth. So again, thank you for the consideration and happy to answer any questions.
Thanks, Michael. Any questions, comments from the board? I know this one's been a long time coming because I worked on it as a project manager over 10 years ago when we first acquired it. So Brandon, thank you for bringing it to fruition in a way I couldn't. So as well as Michael for your efforts there. It's exciting to see it move forward. I think you said it well, Michael, in terms of the neighborhood fabric and the importance that this building, especially on a corner like it is, where there's still some of the blocks intact right around there. So it'll be great to see that move forward and the cap on this building finally coming off. So if there aren't any other questions or comments, I'd invite a motion to approve.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
Great. Any opposed or abstentions? And the motion carries. Congratulations. Thank you all, and look forward to see the project getting underway.
Thank you, everyone.
Now, the last item on our regular board agenda is in Neighborhood Business District Services, the 2023 NIF revised guidelines. And joining us for this will be Josette Fitzgibbons.
So last but not least, I'm Josette Fitzgibbons. I'm the manager of Business District Services here at the URA. What we're talking about today, what we're requesting is authorization for approval for the revisions for our Neighborhood Initiative Funds guidelines for the 2023 funding round. As most of you know, the NIF project started in 2019. And it assists community organizations with neighborhood scale projects in our commercial corridors. We have a little bit more funding this year. We have a little over $1 million available for our 2023 projects that will allow us to fund up to 15 projects. Our application window opens May 15th and closes July 21st. We will be having some education sessions in May and June. So look to our website for that information. Next slide, Kayla. So some of the changes this year. We still have the general Neighborhood Initiatives Fund grants. This is about 70% of the funding available this year. The two tiers, $20,000 to up to $30,000 requests, no matching requirement. The second tier is up to $100,000 and from $30,000 to $100,000, and there is a matching requirement from the applicant of 2 to 1, meaning for every $2 of NIF funds that you're asking for, we want to see $1 in grantee matching funds. The two new items this year. Number one, we've done some set-asides for specialized grant categories. These are based on applications and inquiries that we've gotten over the years. We've not always been able to fund these due to just the competitiveness of the program. The first is ADA Act upgrades in our business corridors, maximum grant up to $30,000. We will award up to 2 of these grants just for Americans with Disabilities Act upgrades. The second is specifically for public art installations and improvements in our business districts. Again, maximum grant of $30,000, and the grants awarded will be up to 2. The third is improvements to buildings that are owned by nonprofits. We know nonprofits often have old school buildings or historic buildings, and they're really important to the neighborhood. And they sometimes come to us with issues with HVAC systems or roofs or something like that. So we will be awarding 1 grant in this category up to $50,000. And then the last is for organizations that are really maybe just starting on this, really small nonprofits that don't have the capacity for a match and need a little bit extra hand holding through the process. We'll be doing up to 2 of these, maximum grant amount $50,000. And then the last piece is up to this time, our grants have been completely reimbursement grants. The group had to spend some money and then send us invoices. We've changed the disbursement, and grantees can now receive 90% of the grant when the contract is signed. So when they've gone through all of the approvals with us of their scope and everything, they can get up to 90% of the grant of the contract, with the remaining 10% coming at the end of the project. This will come with more intense quarterly reporting from the groups and more compliance. So we're making sure that their monies are spent the way that they should be spent. So thank you for listening at the end of the meeting to this. Are there any questions?
Thanks, Joseph. I don't know that I have any questions. That you gave a good overview. NIF's been around for a few years now, so it's exciting to see us taking what we've learned, over those years to make these alterations so that we're being responsive to specific needs, right, that have come up over time, and look to address those directly. So I've just applaud you and the team, for engaging, with our partners in the communities around this and understanding where we might be able to, improve our offerings in order to better support them. So, thank you for doing that and the work to, present us with these revisions on the guidelines. So unless there's any other questions or comments, entertain a motion.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed or abstentions? Great, the motion carries. Thanks, Josette.
Thank you.
And then last is the disclosures agenda. If there's any questions or comments here. I did want to highlight one on item 1B, the authorization to amend the guidelines for the small landlord fund to reduce the interest rate from 3% to 0%. Again, I think it's indicative of staff understanding, what and the ways in which our products need to adjust and respond to the needs of, our clients. So just want to say thank you, for doing that. And hopefully we're able to deploy those funds, in the small landlords, both to, ideally preserve some of the naturally occurring affordable housing as affordable, and then bring more landlords on that will be open to accepting Section 8 vouchers from tenants. So if there aren't any other questions or comments on the disclosures agenda, entertain a motion to approve it in its entirety.
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed or abstentions? And the motion carries. With that, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second. I'll second. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone. We'll see you back here in May for our May board meeting. Thanks so much.